Thank you for joining us for this Springdale Today. I'm your host, Mary Jordan. Today we get the privilege of celebrating School Board Recognition Month, and joining us are school board members Michelle Cook and Randy Hutchinson. Later we're going to transition with a conversation with Secretary Eddie Ramos. Right now, though, Michelle and Randy, thank you so much for being here with us. We sure do appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, appreciate you asking us to do this. It's great.
Well, and I'm really looking forward to the conversation. What a lot of people don't know is that you volunteer. This is an unpaid elected position, so we really appreciate your service and your time on the board. And I'm wondering, as a part of that volunteerism, just how long have you guys served on the board, and how many different positions have you guys all held?
Go ahead.
I've been on the board for 13 years, and as far as I can remember, I've had all of the secretary and vice president and president.
What about you, Randy?
I've been on the board. I'm finishing up my 19th year. I've been around the sun twice. I've been president 2 different times locally, and then also on the state level with Arkansas School Board Association. I've gone through their chairs and been the state level president. So when I do something, I try to jump in with both feet and do it. So.
I guess so. And we were chatting a little bit before we started the podcast, and I didn't realize the history you both had in general. What is your connection to Springdale and the community? Did you guys grow up here? Did you start your career here?
Go ahead.
I was born and raised here. I started in Springdale Public Schools at Southwest Junior High. I went to a private school before that, and graduated from Springdale High School in 1990, and brought my family back here in 98. And my kids, all 3 of my children, graduated from HAR-BER High School.
Yeah, did you go to? You said Springdale,
Mm-hmm.
right?
I was
so
a Bulldog.
You had
Yes.
Bulldogs and Wildcats there.
Right.
Yes, and my kids went to Central, and I went to Southwest. So a little bit of a rivalry
Absolutely.
going on.
I've been in Springdale pretty much my whole life. I wasn't born here, but been here all but 5 years of my life. 57 years old, so 52 years I've been in Springdale. Went to kindergarten at a private school, because when I started, kindergarten was like the very first year that kindergarten was even brought into the public sphere, and my parents weren't real sure if the public schools had that figured out just yet, so they sent me to a private kindergarten. But then 1st and 2nd grade I was here. I moved off. I went to Mena for 3 years and Fort Smith for a couple years while my dad was moving up in Southwestern Bell. Came back to Springdale, was a Southwest Cougar also, graduated from Springdale High School in 86. Got married, started having kiddos. All 3 of my boys went to school in Springdale. They went to Springdale High School. I can't imagine not being a part of Springdale Public Schools.
Well, we're grateful we got you back. Yeah. And what made you guys decide to run for school board, understanding that the service to the community is a really large time commitment, and trying to work all that around your jobs and your families and the commitments that you have outside of that? It's a lot.
I was contacted by a former school board member, Mike Luttrell. He and I graduated high school together, and he'd been on the board, I think, for about 8 or 9 years, and he was moving to the other side of town and having to transition out, and I lived not far from him, and he called. He knew I was very involved with my kids. I did all the booster clubs, PTAs, all that stuff, and he's like, man, you ought to consider this. I knew what a school board was, but that's not anything that was on my bingo card at the time. And I had lunch with him. He kind of gave me an idea of what the expectations were and how it worked. And I talked to the elementary school principal there where my kids were at school, got her input, and my wife, and got everybody's blessing, and jumped in, and here I am 19 years later. So
that's amazing.
I also was contacted by a school board member, a current one, Mr. Owenby, wanting me to think about it. And I had been president of the PTA and PTOs for all of my kids' schools. And then before I had children, I was a special education teacher. And I knew how important the impact, while I hadn't directly worked with the school board before, I knew the impact it had on decisions being made both for, our organizations, for our teachers, and for our students. And so I decided to give it a shot, and 13 years later, I'm still here. So.
And here you are. And there's so much change, I'm sure, that's happened in all this time. Is there a moment or decision that you both were a part of that you're particularly proud of today?
There's been a lot of things that I'm really proud of that we've done as a district, but the most recent thing that I can think of is the changes that we've made at Springdale High School. I'm a Springdale High School graduate, and when I was in high school, I played basketball. That was my thing. And I was really hard to get on board as far as making changes to, like, adding the arena and stuff like that, closing down the old gym, because I'm old school. I like the old stuff. But I finally got on board with that, and Dr. Cleveland let me be as involved as I wanted to be in the process, and I think it turned out pretty good. I'm really proud of what we did there. We've impacted a ton of students, not just athletes. We've impacted a whole bunch of students over there, and it's a state-of-the-art facility. I still kind of miss the old gym, but I understand you've got to keep up with the Joneses in order to attract new people to the district. So that's what I'm most proud of most recently.
I think there are two different things that I'm really proud of. I think Don Tyson School of Innovation was early in my time on the school board, and just getting to see that from, when it was just a thought to now it's been here for 10 years. That was just really exciting, just to try something new and different and to see it grow and become just a phenomenal school. That's been fun to watch and exciting to be a part of. And then the changes we've made recently to the junior highs. I am very close to both junior highs, having gone to Southwest and my kids' experiences at Central. So getting to watch the changes and then watch the students in the new schools has been, just phenomenal. And I'm just so proud of both schools. And it's exciting to walk in and see, they're just neat places to learn, and neat, they kind of draw you in. And the students at both schools seem very proud of their new homes, and I just think it was a great decision, and it's fun to be a part of.
It was exciting to watch all of those buildings grow and develop and change. And I'm wondering, is there something interesting about serving on the school board that we may not anticipate? We see you at meetings, we see you on social media, visiting the different schools and such, but is there an aspect of service that people just wouldn't anticipate?
What I was going to say is, I know you see us on social media. I don't know how much people pay attention to that, but something that we do that's pretty unique is we do visit all the schools. I think we used to do all the schools every year. That got pretty tough because we have 31 schools. So we split that up now. We do half the schools one year and half the schools the next year. And I think that's I know that's unique because as I served on the school board association at the state level, I got to meet with a whole lot of school boards. And when I told them what we did, they were amazed that we did it. And that's going to every school and having a lunch, getting a school lunch and sitting down with the kids in the cafeteria a lot of times, and talking with the kids. You get some pretty humorous moments when you do that. The teachers get to show off, their schools. The administrators get to show off their schools. The kids get to show off a little bit. And it's, for me, it's the most enjoyable thing that I do outside of graduation each year.
I think a lot of people probably don't realize that we are in contact with other school boards, that we go to Little Rock to learn about what's happening across the state, and then often go to national school board conventions to learn about what's happening across the nation. The last few years, we've also interacted a lot with the chamber to get to hear what local businesses really need from us. So I think that the communication we have outside of directly the district is much broader than people realize. That we really try to see where we can grow and how we can help both locally and statewide.
It sounds like there's just a lot of depth into what you guys are doing, and it shows too the depth of consideration we have to give our students and creating opportunities and pathways for them. You mentioned going to the schools, Randy, and they're always fun. I agree with you. Is there a warm or humorous moment that you guys have as far as a memory from a school board meeting or perhaps one of those school visits that comes to mind for you?
I was thinking about it this morning. My favorite one, I had said something in a meeting about that. I really wanted to be in the middle of a band or an orchestra at some point. I didn't play an instrument. I still can't play an instrument to save my life, but I really wanted to, that was kind of a bucket list, that I wanted to be in the middle of a band while they were playing. And J.O. Kelly gave me that opportunity. Sarah Ford let me sit in the middle of their band one day, they were all playing. And so to get to be in that, I can still picture my face. And, it was so exciting and so fun. And just, it was something I'd never done and something that, out of the ordinary for me. And, but definitely a memory that I won't forget.
That's super cool.
There have been, 19 years has been, I can't even think of all the humorous things that have happened. For me, I was thinking about it this morning also. Probably the thing that gives me the warmest feeling, that just feel good thing is being able to present diplomas to all three of my kids, as well as my niece and my nephew. So just to be able to have them walk across the stage, and you hand them a diploma, and you give them a big, not just a handshake, you give them a big hug, then you get a picture of it afterwards. To me, that's what it's all about. And I've got a granddaughter that just started school, and I don't know if I'll be around long enough to do it with her, but I'm thinking about it. So
maybe they could have you come on as an honorary guest even for that. But that's really cool that you get to have those moments, and that's something that other people literally wouldn't be able to experience, and to be right there as a part of that moment. I'm grateful that you had that. And is it moments like that that make it worthwhile to serve? It's a huge commitment for you guys, and you do it voluntarily. You're talking about traveling around the state, and you're talking about traveling nationally and talking with the Chamber of Commerce. What is it about serving on the school board that makes such a huge commitment worthwhile for you both?
I think it's the graduation. I really think that is a yearly reminder of why we do it. Particularly Archer.
I was going to say, that's
when
the big
we
one.
Are sitting on the stage for Archer's graduation. There's just something about it.
It's a party.
There's nothing like it. They are so excited. They work so hard to get there. Their families are so proud. And I know that's the case for all of our high schools. And so I think graduations in general, but just that, we get to watch them all. We get to look out and see their faces. And I missed one year because my daughter was graduating from law school. And the whole time during her graduation, I was thinking about the other graduations and, what I was missing. So I really think that is something that makes it all worthwhile. It just makes it's like you kind of sit up there and reminisce about the year and think about, or that's what I do. And I'm thinking about what all we've seen and done that year. And as the kids walk across the stage, I'm like, okay, this is it. I can do it another year. So.
Yeah, it's really neat that you get to we've handed out literally thousands of diplomas to the 3 or 4 different high schools that we do this for each year, and that's a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
For me, also, it's just I was a product of the Springdale School District, and I'm not a rich man. I'd love to be rich and be able to give hundreds and millions of dollars to the district to help them. Well, I'm not that fortunate. So for me, I enjoy, Springdale District poured into me, all the teachers and the administrators over the years, just time. So I can give that back to them. I have time that I can give back to the district. So I just enjoy being a part of the it's it's just neat to be right there, to be in the room, where it all happened. So it's really cool.
In Archer is cool. I agree. It's like a family-friendly tailgate afterward.
It is.
Even there's just it's a real
Exactly.
big party and a celebration. Are there any misconceptions about serving on the school board that you guys might want to dispel or take the opportunity to talk about a little bit?
That we get paid.
Well, there's that, and the biggest one for me is it's amazing how many people will contact you and go, "Hey, I'm having trouble with this principal or this coach or this." I'm like, that's not what we do. I mean, they think we can fix everything. And honestly, each one of us, we have no power at all by ourselves. The only place you get power is when you have the 7 of us together in a legally called meeting and conduct business. So you have to kind of tell people, this is the way it works. There's a chain of command here. This is, there's a lot of just talking, just letting people air their concerns, and then you point them in the right direction and help them kind of step through that process. So the misconception of we can fix everything, we really individually we can't.
I just think listening. I think you're exactly right. I think a lot of people just want to make sure they're heard. And in a district our size, sometimes that's hard. And so the 7 of us being available, while some of our friend groups may cross over some, we have vast, amount of contact with different people in Northwest Arkansas. So I think whether it's teachers feeling like they can come and talk to us about something that might be going on, or students or parents or whatever, or sometimes just someone in the community, I feel like having someone to come talk to, whether or not we can fix it, and we can't as an individual, but we can listen. And I think that's one of the bigger parts. If they understand that we can listen, but that's probably where it stops.
It's tough because we're at the age now where a lot of people we went to school with, they stayed here. They've got, they may still have kids in school, so they think, I'll just call Randy or I'll just call Michelle. I mean, I know a lot of people. Michelle knows even more than I do. So it's amazing how comfortable they are just picking up the cell phone and, hey.
Or stopping us in Walmart or HAR-BER.
Exactly. So, and that's fine. I don't mind that as long as they're respectful. I'm happy to listen to anything. Generally speaking, I'm going to listen and then point them another direction because I can't really take action on anything when they're talking to me in Walmart.
We have no power as well.
Exactly.
Right. Well, I imagine there's a lot of wisdom and understanding that comes from those conversations too for you. But let's talk about what happens when you're not in Walmart or you're not in a school board meeting. What are you guys doing to kind of relax after just the stress of work and your commitments? How are you spending your downtime?
For me, my wife and I love to travel. Now that the kids are out of the house, they're all out on their own, married, have kids of their own. We're empty nesters. So like recently we just got back from a trip. We love to travel, and we're not the people that go to the same place every year. We try to do something different every time we go somewhere, travel, find new places, and then root for the Hogs, which has been really tough the last several years. But we're season ticket holders for basketball, baseball, football, and we try to go to as many of those games as possible. That's kind of what, between that and hanging out with the grandkids, that's what we do in our downtime.
What about you, Michelle?
I'm a chronic volunteer. So if there's an opportunity for me to help, I find great joy in connecting people or helping in some ways. I help at the U of A quite a bit. I help families across the nation get plugged in to the university. And then the lake. My family has a home by the lake, and we can rest out there. I get a kick out of playing Snow White with all of the animals and feeding as many deer and any kind of animal that'll come out there. That's probably when I'm the most relaxed, and traveling and not cheering on the Hogs when we can.
We're big. And then what about Springdale? What is it about this community that you guys love? And is there a favorite place or spot that means something special to you both?
For me, it's the diversity that we have in our district. I mean, our kids speak dozens of languages. I don't know what the number is now, 60 or some odd languages that are spoken by families that our kids go home to. So the diversity is phenomenal. When my kids were in school, when they got into high school, our house was kind of the hub of activity. Keep your kids close by letting them bring all their friends over. And we'd have a Super Bowl party every year, and we'd have 20 or 30 kids in our living room watching the Super Bowl. And Cynthia and I would sit back and just kind of count, how many different countries were represented. And that's really unique. It's not just a room full of one specific culture. I think the most we ever had was about 7 or 8 different countries that were represented in our living room. It's like a little mini UN. So that's really good. So
I feel like Springdale's family. I have dozens of family members that live here. My parents are here, my aunts and uncles, my cousins. But outside of that, I have so many people that helped me when I grew up, and then kind of, nurtured my children as well when they grew up. So I just feel like, and my husband's from Houston, but he would tell you the same thing as well. Springdale just feels like home. It's just family. And no matter where you're at, whether you're, I get a kick out of going down Emma now. There's so many changes. Getting to go there, or getting to just see all of the growth. While it's very exciting and a lot of changes compared to what it was like when we grew up, it's still home. And it's still, no matter what store or restaurant or place you go, you're going to run into someone They're going to ask, how are you doing? How are your kids? And it just feels like home.
Well, thank you both for showing up for our community. We're very, very grateful. And I know that we've covered a lot of topics today. Is there anything on your hearts that you might want to share that I haven't thought to consider today?
I can't think of anything right off the top of my head. I'll get home and go, I should have, but I don't know.
I think just remembering that while we might be the face sometimes, that it's our teachers and our administration that really do the hard work. They make us look good. And while we get to visit schools, I don't know that we get to tell every single one thank you, but as we enter this Christmas time, and I just think reminding myself and my family that it's all of these teachers that help my kids get where they are. It's all of the administrators that were there when they needed them. And just being thankful that they are there, and they help us look good.
That's well said. I'll piggyback off that. There's nothing more embarrassing for me than for the admin team or Dr. Cleveland or somebody to thank me for everything we did to make this happen. Well, I was just smart enough to get the right people in the right place, to put the right decisions out there for me to look at and consider. I'd love to take credit for all this stuff, but there's a huge team of people behind us, like she said, that make us look really good. And I'm really appreciative of that.
Well, and we're really appreciative of you, for you guys showing up and consistently showing up. We're really grateful. And thank you both for joining us today. We're grateful for this conversation as well.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for having us.
And now we're going to transition to talk to School Board Secretary Eddie Ramos and find out a little bit more about him. Eddie, thank you so much for joining us today. I'm really looking forward to the second half of this conversation today. How are you?
Good. How are you, Mary?
I'm very well, thank you. We were chatting with Randy and Michelle last session, and they shared with us a lot about their history in the area. I'm wondering, what can you tell me about how long you've served on the board and the various positions you've held as a board member?
So on the board, I have been on for 6 years, started in 2019, and I am currently secretary. We kind of try to take turns with the roles, so really secretary, just board members the first, and then move on to secretary, vice president, and then president, hopefully, in a few more years.
And what's your connection to Springdale? Did you grow up here?
I did. So our parents moved here when we were 10. We didn't really move here. We just came on summer break. My dad was a teacher in Mexico, actually, and so we came up one summer break, and we just never left. And that was back in 1994, actually.
Well, we're lucky that you didn't leave. We're grateful to have you and your family here in the region.
Thank you.
What was the factor for you that made you decide that you wanted to serve as a part of the school board?
So I think Springdale has given me a lot, especially school. Since I grew up, I came here in 5th grade to Elmdale Elementary. We used to walk to Elmdale every day, and I spoke 0 English when we first moved here. And they taught me my first words, and from there I just, I went on to middle schools and Central Junior High and Springdale High, and so I think they gave a lot to me, and so the least I could do is try to give back.
Is there a moment or a decision that you've been a part of as part of the school board that's been particularly meaningful for you?
It's very hard to single one out, to be honest with you. I really enjoy facilities, so some of the calls we get to make when we're improving facilities is probably one of the top ones, but also I think just the day-to-day when we have lunches with the kids are a huge highlight for us. So those are usually the 2 biggest things that kind of come to mind, but I think it's really enjoyable overall and very rewarding.
It is. And getting to see you guys in there with the students is always a lot of fun because they're why we're here. They're why we show up.
Right.
What is something interesting about serving on the school board that people may not anticipate?
Well, I'm not sure if I should say this, but sometimes we are the complaint box for a lot of concerns of parents, and we're glad to do it. I mean, that's what we signed on for. And it's something that we have to do to continue improvement in our schools. So we certainly do appreciate feedback from parents, and I know I receive plenty of feedback from parents, and I'm sure the other board members do as well. So, yeah.
They were saying that listening is a very important part of what you guys do, is just simply listening to those concerns.
Yeah. I will tell you 99% of the time that it's not all complaints. It's also a lot of compliments, but 90% of complaints usually end up just miscommunication. And if we can get just the 2 people involved to get to, the same place, usually fixes a lot of things for us. But we're very happy to do it. That's what we're here for.
And we're grateful.
Very.
There's a lot of special moments that you guys have got to experience. Is there anything that's particularly meaningful or humorous that comes to mind for you, whether it's from a school board meeting or perhaps a moment at one of our schools?
I always have this in mind, and I'm not sure it was funny to me at the time, but it was also kind of impactful. We were actually at one of the schools visiting as a board, and so I go to sit down with a table of 4 or 5 kids, and, I'm just kind of talking to them as to what they're working on. And so I moved to a young girl, I think they were in 4th or 5th grade, and I asked her a question, and she just kind of looks at me. And so the young boy on the other side goes, "Oh, she doesn't speak English." And so I turn back to her, and she just has a blank, face expression, and I start speaking to her in Spanish, and all of a sudden, just the whole table just goes, "What?" And I thought that was pretty funny, but it stuck with me because the look on her face, just knowing that I spoke her language. And so anyways, that was something that's always kind of stuck with me. I reassured her that it would get better and that she would learn very quickly, because I was about that age when I started learning, and the younger they are, the bigger the sponge to obtain a new language. So I reassured her, and again, it's just kind of stuck with me ever since, and that's been probably 3 or 4 years ago. So she's got to be in middle school or junior high at this point.
I imagine you were really able to relate to her. There's so many moments that you're a part of. What makes a commitment to the school board valuable to you? Something that you want to show up for year in and year out, this unpaid voluntary commitment to our community?
So one, as I mentioned, to give back to my community. I grew up in Springdale. We currently live in Springdale. I have 2 boys in Springdale schools. But I think number one has been that my oldest is autistic, so he's special needs. So I think I was very proud that I can, be a voice for those folks, and hopefully, help the SPED department as much as I can, make sure they have the tools, and at least have a say in that, because some of these kids don't have a voice, and I feel like we really need to have one, and I think that gives me the voice to at least have an opinion or at least be heard.
Well, and just like the little girl who didn't speak English, I imagine she felt very seen in that moment, which is valuable, so valuable. Yeah. Are there any misconceptions or misunderstandings that the community may have about the school board and serving as a member of that group?
That's it's kind of a hard question, but I would say some folks that have tried to run for school board sometimes don't do it for the right reasons. They think that they get to make all the calls all of a sudden because they are part of the board. And, it's true that you have a say, but you also have 6 other members. So it's 7 of us total. So you're one of 7. So you can't just come in guns blazing, trying to change everything, stir the pot, which has been the case with folks that are doing it for that reason. And just, at least for me, I don't do it for that reason. I do it to give back, and I do it so that the families that I represent have a voice at the table. And sometimes we don't agree on all things, and all I can do is give my vote. And if I'm opposed, then I'm opposed. But I think that's a huge misconception, in that you can just come in, stir the pot, when really it's 7 of us. And I think we'd really do a really good job at communicating and hearing both sides of every story, so that we can come together for the decision. As you can see, some of the board meetings, we don't have a lot of disagreement, but that's because we have that communication beforehand, so that we can make a decision, an educated decision at that.
Conversation beforehand within the confines of what conversations you can have as a school board.
Well, everything has to be public and recorded, so
Right.
It's we can't just call each other up and talk about it. So it is a challenge, to be honest with you, because even we just went to Little Rock for state politics, and they showed us how do you present a bill, and what if you disagree, somebody disagrees, and they have the power to get together and talk about it and hash it out and ask somebody, why are you opposed? But we don't really have that unless we have a public meeting. And we do have some lunch and learns where, we invite the media, and it has to be recorded. So we just have to abide by the guidelines. But it was just funny to me how they don't apply to state government, but they applied to school boards. It's if we can have some of those conversations there, for example, like we've just recently had a conversation about Westwood and what that's going to look like, and the cost of renovating that. And so, again, we have to call the meeting to order, invite the media, make sure everything's recorded, but we do have very important conversations.
So what about when you're not having those important conversations? What are you doing with your downtime to kind of relax and spend some quality time out with your family?
So we do a lot of outdoors things. In the wintertime, we're couch people. To be honest with you, we hate the cold. It's just not for us. Where we're from in Mexico, the cold is, maybe a month and a half, and maybe 30s.
Right.
So we don't see that here. We see cold, we see snow, we see ice. So we're homebodies usually during the winter, but as soon as that sun starts coming out in spring, we go camp, we go to the river, we just kind of are out and about as much as we can.
And do you have a favorite area of Springdale that you'd like to visit, or means something particularly special to you and your family?
It's hard to say, but I've started working downtown Springdale about 1.5 years ago. And seeing that develop into what it is right now and the potential of what it could be, we hang out downtown quite a bit. So I got to say, here in the last few years, downtown has been kind of our favorite spot. One, my youngest is getting a little into skateboarding, and so he's, we can take him to that park, and he's been enjoying that. And then obviously I work there, and then we have plenty of food options. We have a new ice cream place coming. So it's just, I think downtown has been just the happening place, and that's where we've kind of has become our favorite in the last couple of years, I want to say.
That's fantastic. And, we've touched on quite a few things today and tried to get to know you a little bit better. Is there anything on your mind that you want to make sure you share today before we wind things up?
No, I just want to say that I'm very thankful that I get to do this. Honestly, I thought I would, so when I came on, I was actually appointed because there was only a year left in that term after somebody had resigned. And so I didn't really think that I would come back for a second term, but I did want to try it. And so then I came back a second term, and the more I learned, the more intrigued I became. And so I just want to thank everybody that went out and voted for me this last go around, because I had to rerun in May. So I'm back on for another 6 years, and I thought that I would at some point step down, but I find myself liking it so much that I think I'll be around for a little while, at least till my kids graduate, at least. Yeah.
Well, that's good. We're grateful to have you. And, you guys will have ripple effects. You'll never know how many lives you affected. You can look at the kids who graduate and see what pathways they go on, but it goes so much further than just those individuals. So Thank you for showing up. Thank you for your commitment. And we're very grateful that we have people such as yourself and the other school board members shaping our community and speaking into the lives of our students. We're very grateful for you.
Thank you. I'm grateful for you too. Thanks.
And thank you for joining us for this episode of Springdale Today. You can catch this and previous episodes on YouTube, Facebook, or Instagram, and listen to the podcast on Spotify, Apple, or your favorite podcast app. Thank you for joining us for this conversation, and we look forward to chatting with you next time on Springdale Today.
Springdale Today is a production of the Springdale Public Schools Communications Office.
The podcast is hosted by Mary Jordan and is produced and edited by Micah DeLacy.
Be sure to subscribe to Springdale Today for free on your favorite podcast platform.
And don't forget to follow Springdale Today on social media for episode updates
and behind-the-scenes conversations.
Thank you for listening. We hope you join us in the future as we continue to learn about the amazing stories happening in Springdale today.